Hello folks, my name's Lee Townsend and welcome to part 1 of this 4-part video series that I'm going to be making on how to make music covers on YouTube. This is a video topic that's been requested a lot by my subscribers, and talking of subscribers, if you haven't already, make sure that you hit that subscribe button below this video and hit the bell icon so that you get alerts when I upload the next parts in this video series. This part of the series is going to be on the hardware and the software that you're going to need to be able to follow along with the rest of the series. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, well, can't I just use my smartphone to record these videos? And you can use a smartphone video and just upload it to YouTube, but I think a lot of the people that are consuming content on YouTube these days have got used to a bit higher production quality, and they kind of expect it these days because there's a lot of people putting more effort into production quality. So the first piece of hardware that you're going to need to up your game a little bit in the YouTube space is a PC or a Mac. It really doesn't matter which you're using, you can use whichever, but I do recommend that you get something that's half decent. I mean, these days even sort of entry-level laptops are capable of doing this stuff, but I recommend something with at least a dual-core processor with no less than 3.5 gigahertz, and probably 8 gigabytes of RAM is recommended, although you'd probably get away with 6. 4 will probably do the job, but it'll be a lot slower when it comes to editing the video. I'm using a custom-built PC that I built myself. I've got 2 monitors, which really helps. If you can sort of put a setup like that together, I do recommend having a dual monitor setup, but a decent laptop can do the job. The second piece of hardware that you're going to need is an audio interface. Now, I'm using a Line 6 TonePort UX8, which I've mentioned quite a few times in other videos on my channel. I actually did a setup video a few months ago. If you want to watch that, by the way, there's a card there, you can go and watch it. But yeah, I bought this audio interface primarily to record my band. So this thing can record 8 channels all at the same time. So it's complete overkill for what most of you guys are going to need. I would guess that most people watching this video are going to need 2 channels. So the first thing that you need to figure out when you're trying to decide on which audio interface you need is how many channels or tracks you need to record at the same time. If you're just using one guitar channel, i.e. one jack plug in your guitar into the interface and one vocal mic, then you need 2 channels. Again, going back to my setup, my guitar has 2 jack ports in it. So I use 2 channels for my guitar and 1 for my mic. So I need at least 3 channels. But as I said, most of you will need 2. I probably would recommend the Focusrite Scarlett series when it comes to audio interfaces. I've read loads of reviews on these. I've never used one myself, but the reviews kind of speak for themselves. And within that series of audio interfaces, they offer single channel ones, double channel ones, triple channel ones, and ones that will record up to about 16 channels at the same time. So you can choose one at the level that you need with the number of inputs you need. And they're all pretty affordable for what they are. Obviously, the more channels, the more expensive they get. But the chances are, as I've said, you're not going to need the sort of higher end ones anyway. So once you've figured that out, the other thing that you're going to need to go with that is a microphone. Now, I don't recommend that you buy a USB microphone. This is because a USB mic typically is like having an audio interface in itself. What you need is a microphone that can plug into the interface that you've bought so that you can send all the channels that you're recording through the same piece of hardware into your computer. So you need a microphone that has an XLR connection. And it's worth noting here that some condenser microphones require what's called phantom power, which means the audio interface or mixing desk that you're using needs the capability of being able to send phantom power to the microphone in order to give it enough power so that the software or the PA or whatever you're using can pick up the signal. So if you're ordering a microphone that needs phantom power, you need to make sure that your interface has the capability of sending that phantom power to the microphone. So you can check that out in the specs of whatever you're buying. The microphone that I'm using is a cheap one from Thomann called the SC400. I'll link it in the description below. This is a phantom mic, but my audio interface does have phantom power. So yeah, as I said, I've got the combination that works for me. This is a really cheap microphone. You don't need a high-end expensive thing, really. I use this for everything, and for what I need, I mean, if I was going to ever upgrade it, then I'd probably get something really decent, but I think this does the job. Most people are happy with the quality of my audio in my videos, so I'm going to stick with it for now anyway. And then the next piece of hardware that you're going to need after that is going to be a camera. Now, I do recommend a DSLR camera purely for production quality and the ability to change the lenses, but if you're not going to use the camera for photography and you're not sort of willing to really learn how to use the camera, there's no need to have anything that good, really. The picture that you're looking at now is from a Canon G7X Mark II, which is a point-and-shoot compact camera. Granted, it's quite an expensive one. It cost me €600, so it's not a cheap camera by any means, but it's not a DSLR camera. So that sort of shows you that you don't need a DSLR camera. A lot of YouTubers talk about DSLR cameras as if they're a must-have, but a compact camera is just as good. I do recommend for sort of production quality to have two cameras so that you can use two separate shots and cut between them like I do in my videos. So with regards to hardware, that's pretty much it. A decent set of headphones will help when it comes to editing your audio afterwards, but that's it for like essentials. Software that you're going to need to choose a digital audio workstation or a DAW. So I use Cakewalk Sonar X3 Producer Edition, which is software that I downloaded years ago. I use it purely because I've got it, but it is quite out of date nowadays. There are free digital audio workstation softwares out there. I recommend Cakewalk by BandLab, which is it's a piece of software that's actually free, and it's very, very similar to one that I'm using, so it should be easy to follow on with the rest of this video series. If you're using a Mac, GarageBand is a very, very popular one. If you want to pay for software on a Mac, you can get Logic. I've got Logic on my Mac, and it is really, really good software, but I do tend to use my PC more purely because it's a more powerful machine. So I end up using Sonar more often than not, which, like I say, free software, it's easily good enough to get enough production quality for YouTube stuff. So the other piece of software that you need to choose is your video editing software. You could use something like Sony Vegas Pro, which is what I used to use back in the day. I now use Premiere Pro from Adobe, but that is quite expensive. It costs me, I think, €250 a year, something like that. So it isn't the cheapest software, but I mean, you can always just go out there and Google video editing software. There's one called openshot.org, which I found when I Googled it. I've never used it, but you can check it out and let me know what you think if you do decide to use that software. So that's going to be all for this part of the video series. I've gone over the hardware and the software that you're going to need. It's kind of like an introduction. In part 2, we're going to go over audio. We're going to concentrate just on the audio side of making these videos. As I said at the beginning of this video, please subscribe to this channel if you're interested in watching the rest of the videos. And to follow on the rest of the video series, make sure you hit that bell icon so that you get alerts when I upload new videos. If you've got any questions, you can always use the comment section below this video. And you can also get me on Twitter and Instagram and all the social networks. @TweedNelson is my username across the board. You can always find me there. But until next time, come back for part 2 of this video series. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.